Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Gamel Facebook Live today. I'm DeAnn Perrigo. I'm one of Gamel's educators, and I'm here to share with you a little bit about everyday tension. I hope you have been enjoying all these different Facebook Lives, and remember, there are recordings of all of them if you are not able to be here at the same time that it goes live. So I can understand it's 8:30 here on the West Coast, but they are live every day, 10:30 and 3 Central Time. So I'd like to say again, my name is DeAnn Perrigo, and I'm here in my studio in Camas, Washington with Betsy. She's my Optima with a Statler Stitcher, and my husband's behind the camera. Hey, Brad. But let's get going. I want to talk to you a little bit about tension, and we're talking about everyday tension. This isn't the kind of tension when something goes wild or you broke something. This is just the everyday getting good stitches. So the first thing that I want to do every day, or even in between every quilt, is make sure that the stitcher, the machine, can move freely. So I clean all the tracks, I clean all the wheels, because I don't want there to be thread or lint or fuzz, especially if it's minky. And you know there's lots of fuzz all over. So I want to make sure that it's clean and it moves smoothly. And the next thing is I want to make sure that my bobbin is perfect. I have a TOA bobbin gauge, and Jason and Lisa did a fabulous live on that a few days ago. So you need to go onto the Gamel quilting Facebook page, check out their video. It was wonderful. But because of that, I know that my bobbin is set to the right number. My number is around 210. That's what Betsy here likes. But now I want to follow the thread path because I've changed threads. I'm going from a white to an orange because this quilt that I'm going to be working on has several different thread colors. I've got the orange, but I've also got gray, I've got red, I've got some green. I may be changing my thread colors several times. And so with each and every one of these thread changes, I'm going to follow the knot. I have knotted it down at the end when I put my new cone of thread on, and I'm going to watch that knot pull on through. I'm going to move it slowly, and I'm going to watch it go around those thread discs. That's one of those places that the knot can go through and maybe not pop all the way down in there and give you bad tension. So just move those discs a little bit with your finger or your fingernail. Make sure it gets down in there, and now we're going to follow it in and around where the check spring is to make sure that the check spring has that thread in there. That is another place right here where this little hook is that it can pop out. In fact, it can even pop out sometimes if you have a thread break and there's a sudden pop and that thread goes up and winds around. It can pop out of this area. So always check that whenever you're changing your bobbin or having a thread break. Then I'll bring it all the way down and clip it. And we love threading, so let's thread this needle real quick. And my bobbin thread is already there. But now I want to check it. I want to check to make sure that this new color of thread is giving me the same tension as the old thread. I rarely have to change anything because I'm using Omni, and I use Omni all the time. It's the same thread density, it's weight that remains constant even through different colors. Some of the cottons you'll find that there is a change in how thick it is by how the ink has saturated the thread. So less problem with Omni because it's a poly. But if I were changing from a poly to a cotton, or maybe even to a specialty thread, something that is clear, one of those, then I would probably need to change maybe a little bit of tension, because they will react differently. So let's look at this, and let's grab one of these. This is just leftover fabric, leftover batting, the 3 layers, and what that gives me is the equivalent of what's on my machine. But I'm not testing on my customer's quilt. I'm testing on something separate, and to me that's really important. I don't want to clutter up and let my customer know how many times I had to test my tension. And they may need that extra backing. They may have it planned for their binding, or they may want to pull their backing around to the front for binding. All those different reasons, I don't want to test it on my customer's quilt. So when I am testing, I have set my machine to constant, and I'm going to just slide this right under, and I'm going to test it. I'm going to give you some circles, some straight lines, a point, and maybe go each direction. Let's give this a short try. Okay, I have used 2 different colors of thread so that you can see the difference, and I can barely tell there are 2 different ones. That looks like some pretty good tension, so I'm going to go with that. So I'm just going to slide it out, trim it off, and put it away. If there was a problem, where would we adjust it? We're not going to adjust it right here with this little white knob, because that's what holds this assembly in, the check spring assembly in. It's not really going to adjust your thread. What's going to adjust it is the intermittent tension, and that's right here. So this is the knob that we will adjust if we want to change the tension. If we want to get tighter, righty tighty, looser, lefty looser. And you can adjust it with several different turns. You could, if your thread tension's way off, you can just crank it down, make it even with the little screw, and then loosen it from there. Each time you try with your little piece of fabric, like I did, you can try it several times until you get it to where you want it. Remember, most of the time I don't have to change it because I use the same thread. So I hope that this has been something that's helpful for you. Thank you for tuning in to Gamel's Facebook Live this morning. Gamel is on again, like I said, at 10:30 and 3 every day, Central Time, except for tomorrow. Tomorrow's Easter, and there won't be one in the morning so that you can spend time with your family. But be sure to tune in or watch the recordings on Gamel Quilting's Facebook page. Stay healthy, keep quilting. Thanks.